Hello, everybody. Welcome to Awakening the Entrepreneur Within. I'm Michael E. Gerber, speaking to you from Carlsbad, California, in my little home office, just dying to bring the knowledge, the wisdom, the passion, the energy that's needed for you to grow beyond where you are, to do things you, in fact, haven't even imagined you have the capability of doing. As always, in Awakening, we have our guest. And our guest here is quite astonishingly successful. He's Justin Singletary, and he's the founder of Fulfillment.com. I don't know how in the world, Justin, you acquired the name Fulfillment.com, but maybe you could tell us at the very beginning how you did that.
Absolutely. It's good to be on with you, Michael. First off, by God's grace is how we acquired that domain name. So I'll tell you a little bit of our story, and that'll help fill in the gap on how we got that wonderful domain name, because it's opened so many doors for us. My story is I'm in Savannah, Georgia, beautiful Savannah, Georgia, by the way. And I was brought here due to the fact the military stationed me here. I joined the Army and became a Ranger, a 1st Ranger Battalion, and became a sniper team leader. So at that
wait a second, Justin. You joined the Army, and you became a what?
It's an Army Ranger, 1st Ranger Battalion.
Now, everybody doesn't get to become an Army Ranger, right?
They don't. There's
They
a
don't.
large attrition rate.
Yeah, they don't get to become, and I mean, you don't go to the Army and say, I want to join and become an Army Ranger. So I'd love to just talk about that for a second before we get on to Fulfillment.com, because becoming an Army Ranger, in my mind, has something to do with your enormous success. When you left the Army to come on the street and go into business for yourself. The two don't seem to fit, but they absolutely do, based on the conversation you and I were having just before we came on.
Absolutely.
But how do we get people to care? How do we get people to want to? How do we get people to desire to? How do we get people to do the impossible work that it takes to do to become preeminently successful? And you became an Army Ranger. So tell me what an Army Ranger is. Tell all of our guests. I want them to feel it.
Well, an Army Ranger is simply a glorified grunt. The operation is really, it used to be airfield seizures, but Army Rangers, it's a special operations unit. And we just do a lot of great and creative missions, and the people we work with are really high-speed, top-notch guys. And that's what I probably missed the most about it is the guys that we served with. So I mean, it was just a joy to be able to be around comrades, that went through kind of that sacrifice to get there.
Well, you're like the U.S. Navy SEALs,
but in the armies, and
in the Army.
We don't do a lot of swimming.
Right. And you're like the Top Gun pilots in the Air Force.
I would say we're not at the top. We're quiet professionals. We have a good time doing what we're doing, but we're very mission focused. So
yeah, I got that. But every time I speak to a Navy SEAL, or every time I speak to a Top Gun guy, he sort of downplays how extraordinary they are. So I completely understand when you do that. But I simply want people who are listening to us to feel that.
Absolutely.
The experience of working with the best guys on the planet.
Absolutely. There was a lot of people that tried to be, an Army Ranger. And I'm not just saying graduating Ranger school, but being into a Ranger Battalion. There's a lot of guys that tried to do it. The guys that made it were the guys that had a bigger why. They had a bigger purpose. It wasn't that, hey, I'm going to go try out for this. This is just one stepping stone in my journey of life, that I'm going to be an Army Ranger. That's just what I'm going to do. There's no quit there. So you tend to find guys that have that sort of attitude are the ones that actually make it through to become an Army Ranger. So hopefully that fills in a little bit of the gap on, what it takes. It's some prayer and, just being able to put one foot in front of the other and enjoying.
Yeah. But it's how you put that one foot in front of the other, Justin. Let's not diminish that, because it's identically the same thing as the greatest entrepreneurs of all time. When they just, in quotes, put one foot in front of another, it's not just that they put one foot in front of another, it's that they're on fire.
That's right. It's their ability to focus is what I think, is focus on the outcome you're looking for. Instead of the activities, you're focused on the outcome. So I think I learned that early on is where you put your focus, that's where your energy is going to flow. And if you put your focus on the pain, that's where your energy is going to go. That's what you're going to be thinking about. If you put your focus on, well, this is my outcome that I'm going to achieve. That's what you're thinking about. You put your focus there. It's a lot easier to achieve.
Got it. And the way you speak about it sounds easy, but understand, I know it isn't. So it's a
total mindset in my mind. Yeah,
I got it. But it's also understanding and deeply internalizing what that outcome is.
Absolutely. It's seeing it. You're visualizing. You see it before it ever happens. You already know it's going to happen. And then you just, like I said, put one foot in front of the other until you get there.
No, I got it.
It's really hard to describe that to people. And you know more than most, Michael. It's really, first, I feel like you got to work on the way that you see the world, the lens in which you see the world. And if your lens is a negative type of lens, then that's how your life usually turns out. If your lens is always seeing that glass half full, then usually your life just turns out a little bit happier than the next guy. And I think that really says a lot about the guys we served with. They were always more positive than the rest. They focused on the good.
I got it. And of course, we can then talk about Steve Jobs, and we could then talk about Bill Gates, and we could then talk about Ray Kroc, and we could then talk about everybody whose cup wasn't half full, half whatever.
Absolutely.
But completely full of their dream, their vision, their purpose, their mission, the picture they had internalized in their mind's eye as the outcome they're there to produce.
That's right.
It's something I've been writing about, speaking about, teaching about, and doing all of my life. And what I understand and what's so staggeringly painful to me is how difficult it is to get people to see it.
Absolutely. That mental preparation is one thing that people like to skip over. They just like to get into it. Well, you've got to be mentally ready for what's to come, or, you're not going to be prepared for it. So, you see a lot of these greats that they drop out of college because that vision is they don't need college anymore. It's already happened in their minds. They know how to execute.
So we sort of get what it is to be an Army Ranger.
Absolutely.
Tell me about getting fulfillment.com.
Okay, so I started after the military. A couple things happened. What's important to discuss is I jumped into internet sales of health and beauty products. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to make money when I sleep because I had so many other goals and aspirations that were outside of money that I thought, being an internet retailer really helped me accomplish that. So I did really well with that, but I had a pain point to where I couldn't find a good fulfillment solution. The fulfillment solutions that we were using, and that was back in 2011, they didn't really have the transparency I needed. They didn't have the follow-up. I didn't have somebody I could talk to about if something went wrong. There was a lot of issues I was dealing with, so I decided to do my own fulfillment.
Now, wait a second, because define for everybody what you mean by fulfillment.
Absolutely. So fulfillment, the way I'm defining it, is it's e-commerce order fulfillment. Let's say you have a product that you sell online and somebody orders your product. Well, they buy it from your website. The information comes to a fulfillment center, possibly like ourselves, and then we ship it out to the customer that purchased the product, and we send you back the information, tracking number, all that jazz. So it's really, we handle your product for you. You don't ever even have to touch your product. We receive it from a manufacturer and we ship it out to your customer. So we store, we pick, pack, and we ship your product. That's what the fulfillment that I'm talking about is defined as.
Got it. And the problem was, as you began to sell stuff, you said you couldn't find a fulfillment capability that was
to my standard. To be honest with you, it wasn't to my standard. We were doing our own fulfillment. We're like, okay, we got to scale this thing. When we got to about 50, 200 orders a day, it was like, okay, well, let's have somebody else do this so we can focus on other areas of our business. The marketing side of the house, customer service side of the house. There's so many relationships, that we wanted to entertain, that we were busy packaging packages and just dealing with the fulfillment and the postage side of the house, that we were missing opportunities. So at about 50 orders a day or so, it was 100 orders a day, we said, okay, well, it's time for us to outsource this. And it was a good time for us to outsource. And when we did, we searched around for a couple of good fulfillment centers. They were good for a couple of months. And then, we started having problems. People weren't getting their packages. There was mispacks. The packages were coming in late. There was numerous things. And I couldn't really take one invoice and reconcile it to exactly what happened, what got shipped out. It was really hard to see what we're paying for. So at the end of the day, I decided, you know what? I see there's a void in the marketplace. This isn't, I don't know somebody other than Amazon that is doing a great job at fulfillment right now. This is something that we can really do a good job at.
But that's interesting when you said other than Amazon.
Yeah.
Which happens to be the biggest fulfillment center on the planet.
For their own products.
That's
right.
Right. So you decided you're going to create a fulfillment center as excellent as Amazon's for other people's products.
For independent online retailers, people that have their own website and they're not using Amazon and they're selling it amongst other means. I mean, right now we have 65 different e-commerce platforms that we support. So there's a lot of different ways to sell products these days. So really to make a long story short, it was called at cost fulfillment, right? So we charge less than all the competitors around, and we got a large percentage of the market share. I had 800 square feet above a pizza shop, and we had so much product in there. I thought the floor was going to cave in and go on top of the pizza shop. But those were the good days, man. We were actually trying to figure out a way to have a chute from the second story out of the window into the delivery or the USPS truck when it came every day. So it was a fun time. But we really focused on. I had a Ranger buddy of mine that actually became a developer. And we spent many nights, working on our technology so that we can add more value to internet retailers or our clients. So we're the cheapest guys on the block, Michael. And soon we figured, we don't want to be the cheapest guys. We want to spend more time in development, spend more time developing this business out to where we're adding more value to our clients. So we were like, well, this name at cost fulfillment isn't going to fit anymore.
So you didn't want to be the cheapest guys. You wanted to be the best guys.
That's right. We got into the game being the cheapest guys because honestly, I didn't have the bankroll, to build an Amazon, or something that could compete with another large fulfillment center. So we're like, well, let's just guys that just don't care, or they care, but they want the cheapest price on the block. Let's help them out and their friends. So we'll take care of them. And let's just grow this business. I like to say slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Let's not grow it too fast to where we self-implode. Let's not take on, we have no debt still at this time. So we just wanted to do it in a way that was methodical, in a way that we knew we can build a very strong foundation so the business can grow and still be strong at the end of the day.
So you essentially utilized your determination to be, in quotes, the cheapest guys to make access readily available to folks who didn't understand the difference between the cheapest guys and the best guys.
Yep.
They wanted the cheapest, and they gave you an opportunity then to go to work on the systems through which you achieve the result that you wish to achieve on your way to becoming the best.
We are still supplying the same service, or maybe in a better service because we didn't have that many clients at the time. But with 800 square feet, you don't have a lot of bills. And when you have 1, 2, 3, 4 employees, you don't have a lot of payroll. So you can charge a lot less for your services. So
what you were doing with that handful of people that handful of space
Yeah.
was figuring out the mechanics of it in a way that enabled you to rise above everyone else.
That's right.
Because you were working on it, the E-Myth phrase that we continually use because we invented it, rather than just doing it.
That's right. I was in the business. Every day I was in the business, and trying to troubleshoot and trying to figure out what systems can we put in place so we can move to a new activity in the business. And eventually, so I can be working on the business. I spent a lot of time working in the business. And there was some times where I probably should have outsourced where I didn't. If I would have known what I know now, I probably would have been able to do it 2 or 3 times faster.
Yeah, but Justin, when you speak about that, I want to give you just an insight about it. When you speak about it working in the business, in my vernacular, the way you were doing what you were doing was literally working on the business, inventing the systems of the business.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
Enable the systems to liberate you.
Yep.
Doing it, busy.
That's right. I had to be in the weeds, listening to what the customers were, or the clients were saying, seeing how all the operations were going in the weeds, kind of in the trenches, working on everything. But you're right. While I was working on everything, you're also building systems to make those things and fix things forever and make things more efficient, faster for future projects or future shipments.
And that's a very, very, very important thing for everybody listening in to understand, because that's really what the E-Myth is all about. When I talk about working on it, not in it, I mean not being the system yourself, but inventing the system that's going to ultimately make you, an ordinary person, significantly more effective at what you produce, which means you can then attract novices to do the work that needs to be done because it's already orchestrated into a system that produces that result.
That's right. And attract people that are prepared to do what I need them to do. That's where they're at in their life cycle. You know what I mean? Maybe it's something that is very easy for them to do, but that's what they want to do. Yep. So yeah. So I absolutely that we were working. I correct myself. On the business. It seemed like at the time we're in the business because everything's being thrown at us.
Of course you were.
Absolutely.
Of course you were, but you got to understand in this language we're using,
yes,
you are literally designing a business to work.
That's right.
In a way that would make that business significantly more effective than the competition.
That's correct.
You are designing a role for your company in the world so that you would become fulfillment.com in earnest.
That's right. When we felt like we had the right tools, or we got to the point where we added enough value, we decided that we didn't want to be the cheapest guys on the block anymore. So it's hard to make money being the cheapest guys on the block unless it's at scale. But we decided, we really want to change the way that fulfillment's done. We see a lot of things where we're anticipating things that are coming down the road where one facility is just not going to be enough. So let me back up. Based on the fact that we thought we had enough value, it's like, okay, we got to change our name now. At Cost Fulfillment isn't going to work anymore for what we stand for.
What was your name then?
Our name was At Cost Fulfillment then.
Got it. Okay.
So At Cost Fulfillment,
right,
which represented us perfectly at the time.
Yep. Cheap.
And then, so we found that at the time I had a business partner and we talked about it and we're like, what could be, what's the best name out there that we, let's swing for the fences on this, and we found that eBay Enterprises I believe they acquired GSI Commerce and brought along a domain name, fulfillment.com. So they're holding this domain name, not really doing anything with it. So we offered them $50,000 for the domain name and we didn't get a response from them. So we went back to the drawing board. We're like, we really want this domain name. How do we just get their attention? I mean, we're thinking about throwing a blind, bid, not even having the money to figure out how to get the money. So we decided, okay, well, what's the number where they'll get back in touch with us? They'll call us back. So we threw a number $500,000 for that domain name. they called us right back. And we ended up doing the deal. And I think, I think at the end they said, okay, just as long as you don't sell it to Amazon in the next 24 months, we'll do the deal. But it was funny how, we got no response and then we got a call right back. So I'm sure we overpaid for that domain name, but it has paid us dividends based on the fact.
I got to ask you, but where'd the $500,000 come from?
All over the place. The sofa, grandma, you know what I mean? We pulled it together. But
sure, you borrowed it, stole it, you got it wherever.
However we needed to get it, we got it. But between me and a partner,
Ranger.
That's right. So we had a good internet, a good online nutraceutical business at the time. So we found the money, eventually, and we paid for it, and it was like, okay, now we've got to deliver on we'refulfillment.com now. Now we have to be the best. We're making ourselves be the best with that domain name.
That's incredible. I just absolutely love that. I hope everybody heard that. I hope everybody took that in. Guy picks an impossible name, finds out who's got it, offers them an outrageous amount to buy it, and they don't even respond. So you develop 10 times that amount, knowing you would get the response, and they immediately call you.
That's right. Right.
And there you are, without $500,000, having offered $500,000, an obscene amount of money for a name, ladies and gentlemen. Get this, because our Ranger knew that name would become who he was.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I understand there's a lot of people that have different religious preferences, but I like fulfillment.com. Jesus fulfilled the scriptures, and I believe there was a lot of prayer that helped us get that domain name.
I love it. I love it, Justin. Wonderful. Okay, so now I know how you got the name. Now everybody knows how you got the name. You bought the name.
Absolutely.
You paid through the nose for the name.
You
did. Believed in the name.
Yep.
It was.
Now we had big shoes to fill now, Michael.
No, I got it. Because you're fulfillment.com.
That's right. That's right.
You are it.
Where if you Google fulfillment, I mean, just the word fulfillment, we'd sometimes be above the dictionary definition. So as far as just the organic traffic from the search engines, when people are searching for us, it's helped us out tremendously. It's helped us in the beginning. It helped us seem like we're a much bigger company than what we actually were. And it really helped us. What's that?
Of course.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this now. Now that you've got the name, fulfillment, does it attract an enormous number of leads of people who want your services?
Let me say, I think it's just the right amount, because we've adjusted to the lead generation. We've adjusted the business to it. And it's allowed us, instead of to spend a lot of money on pay-per-click ads and social media and other marketing tactics that people just throw a lot of money at, it's allowed us to spend that money in kind of other directions on getting the making.
But I would imagine, and I'm imagining because I don't know.
Yeah.
I would imagine you have standards that you've already established.
Yes.
Kinds of customers you will accept.
That's right. We've got a target. We tend to see a lot of people aren't truly ready for a fulfillment center. It depends on your product, of course. What we tend to see is about 50 orders a day. When we have people that we used to, our doors were open, we'll take anybody. When people are shipping 1 or 2 orders, a day, or they're shipping 1 or 2 orders a month, we're storing a lot of product here, and we've got to charge them for that product. So we feel like under about 50 orders a day may not be a win-win for them. We're actually developing out so we can widen our funnel to help those people that are not shipping 50 orders a day. We're actually launching, hopefully this year, a program that's a postage printing platform, so people can actually, if they're at their office or in their garage, they can go to fulfillment.com and print postage. And then when they get to that 50 orders a day, they're still in the same platform, and they can use us for fulfillment, maybe on the other side of the country that they're not on, or they can use us for all of our locations. So we're going to be expanding that funnel probably this time or sometime this year.
So does everyone who is shipping 50 a day get to use your fulfillment center?
I would say we ship everything from pills in a bottle to beds in a box. So we've got a very wide range of people. What we tend to look for is independent online retailers. What that means is if somebody has a website and they've got a product, a tangible product that they ship out, and it's about 50 orders a day, and they're connected to an e-commerce platform, and even if they've got their own custom code, we've got all RESTful APIs, so we can really integrate with anything. That's really our target market.
And do they have to fill out a questionnaire when they contact you?
We like people to go through our request to quote on fulfillment.com. It helps give us a little bit more information and see if there's the right fit. But we tend to like to reach out to everybody. At the end of the day, we like to place them in places like, or give them access to our education vlog that we have on fulfillment.com that'll help them maybe get to that 50 orders a day. There's a lot of great vendors in that free education vlog that they talk about their services. And I only allowed vendors on there that are actually helping clients that we already have, so I know they're legit. So we try to help them in other ways so they can get to that volume.
I got it. So that's a critical part of your growing company.
Yes.
In short, the way in which you move someone from here to there.
That's right.
Understanding that it's not as easily done as I've just said, moving somebody from here to there, because in order for somebody to become, in quotes, a ranger, to qualify to become a ranger, they have to go through a very, very specific process.
That's right.
That enables them to do that.
Michael, I didn't do it on my own. That's what I'm saying. The guys around it, we helped each other. Right? We helped each other get from A to B. So starting out in e-commerce, I needed the help. And it's not like who I knew. I like to say it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So the network that I tried to establish, or even in Ranger Battalion, the guys that I hung out with were the guys that were going to succeed. Those are the guys that I went to when I had a problem or I wanted to talk through things with. I made sure that the people that I hung around with, especially in e-commerce, were people that were successful, that people that knew what to do now and not what to do 5 years ago, because the landscape is changing so fast.
No, I got that. But let me suggest another piece of this puzzle that we're not really talking about, that there is a very specific process one has to go through. And there's a very specific process one has to go through to become a Ranger, to become a U.S. Navy SEAL, to become a Top Gun, to become whatever, a true entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
There's a very specific set of skills and systems that are critical for one to move through that process.
That's right.
It's not just somebody. It's not just getting motivated and jacked up by somebody. It's getting motivated and jacked up by somebody who's in fact paid the price of going through that very critical process.
And has the right system for you to follow. That's right.
You got it. And so I'm going to suggest that without even knowing, because we haven't done a lot of work together. We've only spoken a few times together. You were attracted to what we do. And we were attracted by what you've done. And we ended up in this conversation together. But what I really want to suggest is there is a significant way to go beyond where you are by, in fact, developing what it is you possess internally, Justin, by developing that in people who haven't a clue what that is. And understand they haven't a clue what that is because nobody's ever even suggested it to them. There was no method to that madness. So I'm going to suggest, not only to you, Justin, but to everybody listening in, that's really the work we've been doing for the past 40 years. That is truly determining what it is that transforms a company of one to a company of 1,000, what it truly takes to awaken the blessed entrepreneur within, the creator within, to go beyond where he or she is. We
Absolutely.
love to say that if we're born in the image of God, as it said,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you believe this,
Mm-hmm.
if we're born in the image of God, then we were born to create.
Mm-hmm.
And if every single human being is born to create, then the question that drives them to create what? Well, to create a world fit for God.
Mm-hmm.
And each of us are called to do that in one specific way.
Mm-hmm.
So effectively, you found your calling, leaving the military, coming to Good Earth Planet USA. You discovered your calling and began to be a U.S. Ranger in the work that you set out to do.
Mm-hmm.
But in your heart, you know you were born to create. You know you were born in the image of God. You know that's what, in fact, your work is telling you to do. And that's the great result that you're setting out to produce.
Absolutely. He wants us to do the best at whatever we do. No matter what we touch, we need to have passion for it. We need to do it our best. And I'll be honest with you, what I've seen, people around me, what I've seen, successful entrepreneurs, what I notice, if somebody shows me their last 24 hours or a 24-hour period, I can tell you, or you can tell if somebody's going to be successful based on where they spend their time. They spend their time in educating themselves, mentally preparing themselves. Those are the guys that are going to, or guys and gals that are going to be successful, the ones that spend their time wisely. Like I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger said, sleep faster. You know what I mean? He said that he spends like six hours of sleeping, and if some people need 8, sleep faster. So it's just like, where do you spend your time? If you're not spending your time in a program, or if you're not actively doing something, you need to be preparing to do something. And this brings me to, I read the E-Myth, your book, after your beautiful wife handed it to me at Board of Advisors. I went on my honeymoon and I brought the book with me, and I shouldn't have, I shouldn't have started reading a book, because it led me on my honeymoon to start developing out a new blueprint for the next 3 years of fulfillment.com. I was doing that on my honeymoon. So I don't think my wife will be watching this. I think she knows what I was working on. She knows now, but it's really, I learned a lot from reading your book, Michael, and exactly what you're saying. There's systems that I didn't think I was doing the things that I was doing in the beginning. But when I read your book, I realized I was doing those things, and I realized there's more of those things need to be done in order for us to get more efficient, more SOPs. We need to have a product that can be duplicated and can be improved upon. So I just want to say, that story, as far as reading the book and then coming up with a new vision, or a more precise vision for the team, was crucial, and it's going to be crucial for our next 3 years.
That's wonderful. And understand, while you say that it's going to be crucial for the next 3 years, understand it will be crucial for the life of your company.
Absolutely.
Until the day somebody acquires it.
Yep.
And then, of course, it's up to them.
Yep. Absolutely.
But working on your business is tantamount to working on your life.
Absolutely.
And effectively, Jason, I'm Justin, I'm sorry. You are a born-again entrepreneur working on your life, and you do it persistently.
Well, it's consistent, and I enjoy it. You got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy the hard road. You know what I mean? The easy road gets hard, and the hard road gets easy. I tend to take the hard pass, and I learned early on that I enjoy the outcome of the hard pass more than the outcome of the easy pass.
Well, folks, I'm going to ask every single one of you to click on Justin's website. Justin, will you give everybody that?
Absolutely. It's fulfillment.com. And be honest with you, I'm really easy to reach. I enjoy helping people and talking through strategy on things. There's so many pieces of the puzzle when it comes to e-commerce. So many pieces that people just don't know exist out there. So my email address, I'll just give it out. I don't know how many listeners are going to be listening to this, but my email address is jsingletary, SINGLETARY @fulfillment.com. If somebody wants to chat, they've got an idea, we'll schedule some time, and you can bend my ear for a little bit, and we'll see if I can help out.
Oh, Justin, that's really, really, really gracious of you. I want to give everybody who's listening to us a gift, and it's my latest book, and you can get it free at freebook.michaelegerber.com. Go to freebook.michaelegerber.com. And the name of that book is Making It on Your Own in America, or wherever you happen to live, a joyous path to radical self-employment, which effectively is what Jason did. Jason, I'm sorry, Jason.
My brother's name's Jason, and my mom does it all the time, so don't worry about that.
Justin has done and is doing, and every single one of you can do it too. And it will then introduce you to Radical You, the only entrepreneurial development school on the planet, online, for every single one of you to enter into what we call the eightfold path. That's the process by which you learn what Justin is practicing every single day of his life. You get to do that too. You get to. And hear me, it's a 5-year school online for only $479.40 a freaking year.
How much does Wharton School of Business charge?
Yeah, right. You understand? How much does Harvard charge?
That's right.
Yeah, $70,000 a year. How much does Stanford charge? $125,000 a year. $479.40 to provide you with the 40 years of experience I've created working with over 100,000 students of ours. And now it's available to you right now. Just do it. So Justin, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Michael. I love talking to you. And like I said, if I can just comment on that, please, you need to be mentally prepared for this game. And that Radical U University will do that for you.
Thanks. And you know where to reach me. That's Michael E. Gerber at michaelegerber.com or michael@michaelegerber.com. But you can find me. So just find me. I'm here. Love you all. Thank you all. See you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.